lot of people want to be healers these days, and I can't think for the life of me what attracts them to wanting to wear such a hat. I can only think that it's because they really would like to be a somebody. And healing is very popular in whatever shape or form it comes. And there seems to be a growing obsession with people wanting to be the person who has the power to make a difference to someone else's life. Now, this raises a huge question, because are they doing this because they want to help that person, or are they doing it because they wish to wear the hat? The more I listen to people, the more I interact with them in matters of healing, the more I tend to feel that it's the hat, and that the hat seems to be growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It also strikes you that sometimes whatever we wish to do, if it's for the purpose of some kind of self-glorification, that it's actually become permissible in our society to glorify oneself. Quite scary, really. This is quite worrying. It seems to have escalated over the last few decades, and because I've been at all of this in my work for many decades, then I've actually seen it growing. I've seen it developing. I've seen it becoming permissible. We find ourselves having to wade through quite a few factors if we're talking about the business of healing or making someone well. To begin with, the human being is currently constructed of so many different things. There's the mind, there's the body, there's the emotions, there's the psychology. There are a lot of factors involved if you think you want to heal someone. And the biggest factor, of course, is the fact that you can't do anything to anyone at all unless they are party to it. So in other words, then you might do all that you can to try and heal someone, give them remedies, wave magic wands over them and do all kinds of things, and you won't affect them at all if you're not considering that they have the power to say whether they wish to be healed or not. So it all boils down to the actual individual who has the problem. It also all boils down to the fact that where an individual is concerned, they may desire one aspect of themselves to heal, while 24,000 other aspects are not going to budge. They're going to stay the same. And if healing is going to occur, it has to occur on a much more whole level. Having said all of that, I don't believe that any one person can actually be a healer. I don't believe that any one person can actually be a healer. The person who would call themselves a healer can do nothing if the person they are healing isn't party to what is going on. So in other words, we can only heal ourselves. Alternative therapies, of course, have a big role to play, and some people find these very beneficial. I want everyone to understand that I'm not poo-pooing the variety of healing that's available. What I'm trying to get at is the attitude we've developed over the years. The idea of healing seems to have been sabotaged by people who wish to satisfy an inner need to exert themselves in a most grandiose way. Now, we do need other people to help ourselves heal. We need someone to say something, someone to do something. Sometimes somebody can say something and a light bulb will switch on within you. It tends to bring a transformation. That's probably the biggest aspect of healing, is transformation. We have to change ourselves. We might have to change our attitude. We might have to change our outlook on life. We might have to change any number of things to be able to accommodate a different way of being within ourselves. Alternative remedies and diet provide a good accompaniment to this. But these don't answer all the questions we may have about the human makeup and the way we relate to each other where healing is concerned. So quite a lot of it is down to the individual themselves who is requiring the healing. It's such a huge area. You can't say, right now I'm going to roll my sleeves up and you are going to come into the room and I am going to heal you. If only it were like that, but it's not, and it can never be. As a healer, you are not the great angel waiting to come into everybody's lives so that you can change those lives forever. Because another thing we've got to look at is the person doing the healing. What are they composed of? What perfections do they have to enable them to say that they will give somebody healing who needs it? The bottom line is most of the world is quite messed up today. Most of us believe we have some kind of superpower hidden within because most of us feel uncomfortable within our own individuality. Most of the world is struggling to survive. Society has taken such a turn where everybody, literally everybody, is suffering from some kind of sickness or another. And it's not just physical, mental sickness. I think there's a lot of emotional sickness. I think emotional sickness is probably one of the biggest things that holds us all back from what we might otherwise do if we could transform and heal ourselves. So there's this great world of emotions swirling about inside the person who wants healing, swirling about inside the person who wants to execute the healing. Thirst for power has sadly attracted a lot of people to shamanic healing, people who want to capitalise on what can satisfy their ego, their status, their sense of spiritual wealth, and all because they need to belong. Neo-shamanism will never replace ancient tribal shamanism when the original values are missing. But I'll be discussing this in a separate video. You might have heard me utter the word parava before. That means the great transformation we can have. And on a deeper level, that works in line with the sun. Jal Parava is a line of thinking that works with the sun's cycles. The sun every year enacts the same behaviour, the same movement, going through spring, summer, autumn and winter. And if you could work in line with that, then you were doing what was natural, and that brought you the biggest change of all. And that meant going through spring, summer, autumn, winter within yourself. You are in the winter of your soul if you are suffering. You are in the spring of your soul if you're starting to see the light coming through. Sometimes we need to go through this cycle. Sometimes we need something to happen that jolts us, that disturbs us, that troubles us, before we can say, look, I'm fed up with this. I want things to change. And you've got to have things changing if you really do want to have an effect on your life. By far the best way is to be as the natural world is. Copy her cycles as much as you can within yourself. And that includes the ups and downs and the hurts and the pains and the realizations that nature inspires us with. It's got to come from you. It's got to come from the place that you often, very rarely, access. Now, if someone can say something, do something that affects that, then that's what healing is. But what it also means, crucially, is that you are healing yourself. And I think that's the main message I want to deliver. You can heal yourself, not entirely alone, but by what comes to you in your daily life. If you want this to happen, there's no harm in sending out a message to your ancestors and to the spirits and to basically anyone who's listening, anyone in the other world who wants to help you. Say, give me an opportunity to change, to grow, to transform, to heal. Give me that opportunity. I'm ready. And I'm ready to sacrifice something that maybe I wouldn't even have thought of sacrificing before. Because often that's the key. Sacrificing something, a thought, an idea, a way of being, a way of thinking, a way of behaving. Sometimes these things are what it takes so that we can make that final push towards healing ourselves. And remember that it won't be perfect. You won't become the perfect individual. And if you think you're a healer, you will never make somebody perfect. Nobody can become the perfect individual. No one was ever meant to be the perfect individual. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We're here to learn, always. And the more you accept that, the more you say, I want to learn, believe me, the more you will heal. Humble yourself. Humble yourself before your ancestors and before everything that the earth delivers to you. And make a pact. Make a pact with yourself. Say, I'm going to learn. I'm going to do whatever it takes to help me feel better. We live in a messed up world. We all know that. It's really dire at the moment. And everybody is full of their self-glorification. And that's what we've got to wrestle with. Don't jump in on the bandwagon. Be different. Make your ancestors proud of you. That's the only way you'll start a healing process. It's not overnight, flash of blinding light, sudden quick fix healing. It's a long process, but it's worth it. That is the way you'll start to feel far more better about yourself than you've ever done before. Have a think about this. This is a big one to think about, isn't it? Thanks for listening.